I'm telling you right now, they are undeniably not greedy. How can you say they're greedy? Nintendo is giving you a fair price.
Today, we get to take a look at one of my favorite things in the gaming community, and that is just some good old-fashioned damage control. This time, we take a look at some damage control by a Nintendo fanboy who wants to defend Nintendo's honor for selling $80 video games and the Nintendo Switch 2 for $450. This video is just the embodiment of leave the multi-billion-dollar corporation alone. Let's go ahead and find out why the Switch 2 hate needs to stop.
Guys, I think I've reached my breaking point. Like, I am sick of the Nintendo slander and the Nintendo hate.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Guys, he's just at his breaking point. He cannot deal with the fact that a multi-billion-dollar corporation on the internet is receiving criticism. So he is going to be the knight in shining armor running to Nintendo's defense. I will genuinely never understand why people feel like they need to rush to the defense of a multi-billion-dollar corporation on the internet when they get legitimate criticism. It's so strange, dude.
Saying that this is a failed unveiling, this is a failed reveal, this is so disappointing, it sucks, the system's terrible, Nintendo is going to follow up a super successful system and era with a stumble and a horribly unsuccessful era.
But nobody's saying that. Well, at least nobody who's being serious. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to fail, especially not in Japan where it's cheaper. We just think the games especially are overpriced.
It's freaking bonkers. And look, I wish we were paying less. You always want to pay less. I wish the games cost less.
You wish the games and console costed less so much that you're making a video defending their current price. You don't wish they cost less, dude. Because if you did, you wouldn't be making this video.
Don't get me wrong, but I gained some perspective tonight that I think might actually help you out. I hope this perspective does give you a bit of solace, a bit of calm, a bit of peace of mind about what Nintendo's doing here, because in my opinion, after this perspective, Nintendo is killing this launch, and Nintendo has revealed great games and awesome performance, and in 7 weeks, they made Cyberpunk run on Switch 2 better than it can run on Steam Deck. Okay.
Yeah, I would kinda hope that the Switch 2 could run games better than the Steam Deck, considering the Steam Deck came out in 2022, and the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out in 2025. That's kind of to be expected. That's like saying the PS5 Pro can run, I don't know, Doom Eternal better than the PS5. It's like, yeah, no shit.
You can call me crazy, but what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. I'm going to show you some simple math. This is the US inflation calculator, alright? In the year 2020, the PlayStation 5 dropped, and the PlayStation 5 introduced the $70 video game. Demon's Souls was $70. Look at how much that is in 2025. Demon's Souls was an $86 video game.
Which personally I did not like. I did not like the price of that game. I think it's a great game and all, but I don't think it's $70 worthy. And a lot of people spoke out against the $70 price tag when the PS5 came out. So is it really a shock that people are also speaking out against the $80 price tag? I don't think so. I think it was Rockstar that first introduced $70 games and then it was PlayStation. But what happened after PlayStation made $70 games? Xbox followed them, then Nintendo. So what do you think is going to happen with $80 games? All the other companies are going to follow suit and price their games at $80. And that's not even counting all the DLC you might have to buy to get the full game. People are speaking out against the Switch 2 because they don't want to see the video game industry go down the road of $80 video games. Especially considering the games haven't gotten really any better once the $70 price tag was introduced. Forspoken, Starfield, and Redfall were all $70 games, and all three launched at 30 frames a second. So if we're not paying for extra quality, what the fuck are we paying for? And don't give me this shit of, oh, games cost more to make now. Yeah, I highly doubt that Mario Kart World is going to cost more to make than Red Dead Redemption 2.
I know nobody cares about inflation. I know they say dollars are dollars. They're not. Inflation is really real.
Yeah, inflation is real, but guess what hasn't inflated since 2020? Wages. Things cost more, but the jobs are paying the same. But not only do video games cost more, so does everything else around us. So not only do we have the same amount of money we were getting in 2020, but everything else around us is more expensive, leaving us less money to buy video games. Which is why a lot of us are upset over $80 games. Now, I guess you could make a case for physical games being more expensive due to inflation because you're actually using physical objects, but digital games? Really? And somehow Microsoft and Sony, which definitely pour a lot more money into their games due to the graphics, they didn't have to charge $80, but Nintendo does?
Inflation is factual. Inflation is undeniable. Demon Souls cost $6.30 more than Mario Kart. Should Mario Kart be 70? Sure, I don't know. Whatever. They decided the price. There's tariffs. There's global economy. There's Nintendo.
Yeah, because I'm sure a tariff is going to affect the price of a digital product that uses no physical materials to make. Yeah, this is pure 100% damage control, dude. I hope Nintendo at least sent you a couple bucks for this video, bro, because this is pathetic.
Get this. If I wanted a PlayStation and Demon Souls in 2020, that's $570, right? Now, mind you, that's a remake, Demon Souls. Not even a brand new game, it's a remake.
Yeah, I agree. Demon Souls was overpriced. It's a remake, and it should not have costed $70. I think it should have been $60.
It was $702.
No, it was $570.
Now, somebody in the audience tell me how much the Mario Kart World Bundle is for the system and the $80 game. $500. $525. And just so you're sure, if I spent $500 in 2025, this calculator is not messed up, it's not goofy, there's zero inflation because it is 2025. You are spending $200 less than what you spent in 2020 if you bought a PS5. People thought the PS5 was expensive. Nobody was running a drop the price protest campaign, chaos, saying it's a failed launch, saying it's horrible. The PS5 is an amazing selling system. The PS5 continues to be very successful, okay?
Well, yeah, because the PS5 when it first came out was around the power of a 2070 Super, which, by the way, back at that time, the 30 series had just launched. So you were getting a higher end of a GPU that is barely last generation. The 20 series only went up to a 2080 or a 2080 Ti, and you were getting a 2070 Super. The price to performance ratio on the Series X and PS5 was unmatched. The PS5 was a great fucking price for the actual power you were getting.
The first $70 video game was actually an $86 video game today. So I want you to see this. We're gonna go backwards, right? Okay, I think you can do this. If not, I'll show you a different site. If I bought something in 2020 for $80, or 2025 for $80, it would have been $64 in 2020. You're buying a $64 video game. They've raised the price on you by negative $5.11.
He's trying to argue that it's a good thing that you're buying an $80 video game in 2025 when it would have been $60 in 2020, despite the fact that the wages are the same as they were in 2020. Or if they did increase, it's very, very minimal.
This is the perspective that I needed. I'm so glad I did this. I'm so glad I sought this out. I'm so glad I just decided to do the math for myself. Like, look, if you don't want to believe in tariffs, if you don't want to believe in global economy, you don't believe Nintendo's greedy, that's fine. I'm telling you right now, they are undeniably not greedy. How can you say they're greedy?
They're not greedy, dude. That's why they region-locked the Japanese version of the console that's cheaper so that American people can't buy the Japanese version and just change the language. They took Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze off of the Wii U store so they could resell it on the Switch store for more than it originally costed. Remember when Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon launched for $40 on the 3DS, then went on sale for $20? And then they re-released it on the Nintendo Switch for $60? Yeah, they're totally not greedy. Like, bro, they're a greedy company, and before you say something like Microsoft, Sony, they're greedy too. These companies are not your fucking friends.
We're so used to the price staying consistent, and that's just not something that can always happen for the gaming industry to continue. Regardless, though, maybe you don't want the gaming industry to continue. I just want to focus in on Nintendo is not greedy. Nintendo did not ruin their chances at success. Nintendo did not deliver a terrible console. Nintendo did not screw this whole thing up.
Yeah, tell that to all the people online talking about the price.
Nintendo is giving you a fair price.
Yeah, the consumers decide what a fair price is. Hate to break it to you, buddy. Now, the rest of the video is just basically inflation, which I already covered. The fact that wages are not increasing, everything around us has gone up in price. Most young people will never be able to afford a house. The last thing we want to do is pay $80 for a fucking video game. So I don't know why the hell you're defending this shit. Especially considering Sony and Microsoft did not need to price their games at $80, so why does Nintendo? Their games are literally cheaper to make. At the end of the day, if you want to buy the Switch 2 and Mario Kart, I can't stop you, but I would simply advise against it. Hopefully we get a 3DS situation where they chop the price, but who knows. Alright, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike and a mean comment. Alright, I'm out. Peace.